Yo, what's up, YouTube? It's Richawd back with another video. Now, maybe some of you guys can relate to this, maybe you can't, but I just want to get this message out because I feel like it can help some people. Life can seem very meaningless to a lot of people. Even sometimes myself, I tell you guys that I battle with depression. That's not to say that 24/7 I'm always depressed. It's kind of like manic episodes, or however the word is, however the phrase is. I'll be doing good one day, and then the next day it's like my whole world feels like it's ending, and I don't have any energy or any drive to do anything, But no one cares about that. That's the point of the video. Nobody cares. And that can make you feel even more depressed when you realize, one, nobody cares, and two, there's some people that are happy to see you down. There's some people that are happy to see you depressed, or there's some people that are happy to see you not doing good because, they view everything as competition. So when they see people struggling or poor or just lost their job or whatever's going on, they see it as a good thing. It's a lot of sadistic people in the world. Sadistic people get a kick out of other people's suffering, But the thing that the point that I want to make in this video is this. You have to realize, bro, we can only control what we can control. We live in a very evil world. I'm going to keep telling y'all this. And if you don't believe we're living in an evil world, you're probably one of the evil people, right? And you're probably just trying to gaslight me. But those who, have a smidgen of a brain, you can tell that this world is very dark and very evil, right? The people that get in positions of power typically aren't good people. This world doesn't reward you for being a good person. In this world, if you're a good, good-hearted, good-spirited person, more times than not, it's going to be people that want to use that against you. It's going to be people that want to finesse you. We live in a finesse-heavy era, right? You got to be very careful nowadays. There's scammers and finessers everywhere looking to get your information and looking to scam you out of some money. It's just the culture, because nobody cares about anybody but themselves, right? Nobody cares about anybody but themselves, and a lot of people are snakes. If they have to snake you out to get what they want, they will do that. It's people that aren't genuine. It's people that will keep you around just to use you and get whatever they can get from you. And then once they feel that they can't get anything from you, or once they're not getting what they expected to be getting from you, then they move on from you. You live in a world where people will hate you for having a mind of your own. We live in a world where people will hate you for telling the truth. We live in a world where if you can see that the world seems to sort of be ending, and when I say ending, I mean the structure that we were born into, the American dream that we were told, that seems to be much of a fairy tale now, as we see, the economy continue to plummet with no signs of getting better. The housing market continue to rise and get more unaffordable with no signs of it getting more affordable. Jobs are scarce. It's hard to find a job. It's hard to get a job. Then when you actually do get a job, the job is shit. It's like, you ever seen the meme where it shows somebody looking out the window looking sad? It's basically two pictures of somebody looking out the window looking sad. And one caption, it says life of an unemployed person, and the other one, it says life of an employed person. The irony is, when you're unemployed, you're not happy because you don't have any money. And when you are employed, more times than not, you're unhappy because that job is dog shit. So there's really no winning in this game, this life that we see. You get in this rat's race and you do everything right, and then somebody who had cheat codes and had all the answers to the test and finessed the game, you see them pass you by. You see them get everything that you're working hard for, that you worked hard for. You go to college, you get a degree, and you get your master's, and you get a real good job as an engineer. And you move into a real nice neighborhood, and you spent your whole life working hard for it. And you got you a wife, and you got kids, and you're living the dream, right? Working real hard. And then you see some scammer, some rapper, some degenerate move in right across the street from you. 19 years old. Here you are, 35. You done did things the right way. The American way. You're a good man. You're a good person. Here you have this 19-year-old who said, forget all the rules. I'm going to make my own rules. Right? Forget doing it the right way. You're right. I'm gonna get my hands dirty. Right? I'm going to take some risk. I'm going to risk my freedom. You see a 19-year-old move in to a big old house right next door to you. You get up every morning, you going to work. He's at home chilling, right? Every weekend he's throwing a big party. It's always a bunch of people over. He's living the dream, it seems, right? And here you are, you did everything right, and you're watching somebody who, quote unquote, did everything wrong, living the dream. Not unemployed. Unemployed, living in the same neighborhood as you, and you have a master's degree. And then you have an epiphany like, wow, life really isn't fair. The people that work hard and do everything right typically are the ones that get stepped on. I was playing this game called Metal Gear Solid Snake Eater. I'm still playing it right now. I'm towards the end. I'm fighting this dude called Vogan. This nigga keep unaliving me, bro. If you play Metal Gear Solid, you know what I mean. Once you get to Vogan, and if you're playing on like one of the higher difficulties, that nigga is OP, bro. And you only got like 5 minutes to unalive him. If you don't unalive him within those 5 minutes, the whole facility blows up. You just got to play the game to understand. You know, it's a complicated story. You know, you got to understand the story to understand it. But why did I bring that up? Right, because they have these scientists. It was this scientist called Sokolov, right? And Sokolov said he became a scientist because he wanted to build rockets, right? He wanted to build these super space rockets so people can go to space. But he got corrupted because the government used him as a pawn to create mass destructive weapons, right? Military weapons, right? And they forced him to do this, right? And they used him to create these weapons, to create the blueprint for these weapons. They couldn't create it without his expertise. They used him, and then once they were done with him, once they completed phase 2, once they completed the weapon, and the weapon that they created, they were going to mass produce it because they already had the blueprint of how to create it. But mind you, they couldn't have got the blueprint without the scientists. Once they got the blueprint, guess what they did to the scientists? They unalived the scientists. Why did they unalive the scientists? Because they didn't trust the scientists to keep the secrets, right? To me, that showed me a lot, bruh, right? That showed me a lot. Here you have somebody who went to college, and some people may say, oh, it's just a video game. It's just this. Video games, and especially video games like Metal Gear Solid, tells you a lot about what's really going on in the world, what's really going on behind closed doors, right? Art imitates life. And it just had me thinking like, wow, Sokolov, he was a good dude, right? He just wanted to be a scientist and create rockets. But he was forced. They kidnapped his family, and they forced him to create these super weapons. And if he didn't create these super weapons, he would be unalived and he would never see his family again. But the irony of it, He did what they told him to do, and they unalived him anyway. He never got to see his family again anyway. It's a cold world that we live in. You may say that's just a video game, but it's things like that that happen in the real world. How many good men have we seen fall? How many truth tellers have we seen get sabotaged and get silenced for trying to do the right thing? How many people have we seen come into the industry with a good heart, with a good soul, and they get corrupted against their own will? And in Metal Gear Solid, they had torture scenes, and they showed you a lot about what's going on. Electric shock treatment. Basically what they do with the MK Ultra shit, they shock you and they torture you, and that's how they control you. But my point in bringing all that up is, it's an evil world that we live in, bro. If you want to be a good person, nobody's going to care about you. You're going to be forgotten, right? You're not going to become a celebrity being a good person. Oh, are you saying all celebrities are bad people? Not necessarily, but all celebrities got to get down if they want to make it to the top. I'm going to just leave it at that. And a lot of y'all already know this. Y'all don't need Richawd to tell you this. A lot of celebrities got to get down with the get down. And if they don't get down with the get down, they're one of those people that end up being one-hit wonders. And you're like, oh, what happened to such and such? Oh, they fell off. Oh, this, oh, that. Nobody falls off, bro. Understand that. Nobody falls off, right? They get to a point to where they have to go through certain doors and make certain decisions, and they choose not to make those decisions. If whoever the powers that be want to be popular will be popular. They're just gonna promote them everywhere, and they're gonna tell the people, hey, this person is important. Hey, this person is cool. Go subscribe to this person. Go watch this person. Go follow this person. And everybody's gonna follow this person because everybody else is doing it. Right? That's how this world works. That's how this circus works. That's why these games continue to go on, because the people just blindly follow it. No matter how many truth tellers come out, no matter how many whistleblowers come out and tell y'all what's going on, y'all just call those people crazy and those people conspiracy theorists, because you don't want Christmas to end. You don't want Thanksgiving to end. You don't want the Tooth Fairy to end. You don't want Halloween to end, right? People love this corrupt system, is what I'm learning. That's why they attack people that speak against the corrupt system, because it's like, you're speaking against something I love, right? It's like a mother who has a kid who's a criminal, who unalives people, who robs people for a living. And somebody tells that mother, man, your son ain't shit. She's going to get defensive, because she knows, and you know, her son ain't worth a damn. Her son been in and out of prison. Her son fighting the case as we speak. But that's her baby. That's her boy. Even though she knows it's true, she don't want to believe that. She still remembers that little baby that she was rocking to sleep. She still remembers that little 5-6-year-old sweet boy who had a good heart and a good spirit. She doesn't want to accept the fact that he done turned dark and he's a gremlin and he's soulless. That's the same thing with you people. When we tell y'all this whole system is corrupt, this whole system is falling, this whole system is designed to fail, right? It goes against everything you love. You guys don't want this system to fall. You guys don't want this system to fail. So you're not going to listen. You're not going to care when people like me or anybody, because I'm not the only one. There's plenty of people out here spreading the truth. But y'all not going to support the truth tellers. Y'all are going to help the enemy destroy the truth tellers, right? Because if people stood behind the truth tellers, if people didn't sell out for money to infiltrate the truth tellers, then a huge shift would happen. But that shift would never happen because people don't want the shift to happen, right? People have become accustomed to being slaves. They don't want to run away. They don't want to leave the plantation, right? They're scared. How are we going to eat? How are we going to survive? We've been on this plantation our whole life. What are we going to do without old massa? What are we going to do without old massa or our zaddy? We can't survive without him. We're not going to make it without him. And when you see this, as somebody who sees what's going on and tries to expose what's going on, and you see how people treat you, and then you see people who promote destruction, who promote selling drugs, who promote pimping women, who promote being abusive to women, who promote unaliving their own people, right? Who promote gang culture. When gang culture, I'm going to continue to tell y'all, it's destructive, right? All gang culture is a bunch of dudes that usually was raised by a woman, got feminine energy, right? And they feel like being around other men makes them masculine, right? They feel like being around a group of men makes them hard, makes them a man. They feel like hitting licks and unaliving people and living life like it's GTA. That makes them that dude. Until they end up in prison. Until they end up 6 feet under. Now they mama talking about, I miss my baby. Now they mama on the news talking about he was a good boy. When everybody know he was a shooter. But like I said, she still remembers that little baby. She don't remember the shooter. She don't remember she don't remember the nigga that was goddamn making other mothers cry. But now she crying. How about how many mamas he done made cry? How about how many brothers and sisters and cousins and nephews he done made cry? But he was a good boy. We lost a good one. Heaven gained a soldier. You don't never hear niggas say hell done gained a warrior. You don't never hear niggas say hell done gained a gremlin. While these niggas is alive, y'all calling them gremlins and demons and this, that, and the third. Then when they die, y'all want to get all righteous. Like, oh Lord, why you take my brother? You know why he took your brother? Because your brother done took a couple brothers. Right? And what comes around goes around. It just is what it is. Now it's a time and a place for everything. You may have to unalive somebody if they try to unalive you. Right? I'm not against that. In the Bible, it tells you that there's nothing wrong with defending your life. Eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth. But your homeboy, he didn't have to unalive those people. He chose to. He didn't have to rob those people. He chose to. So where are you going with this, Richawd? What's your point? You're kind of everywhere. You're kind of rambling. My point is this. All this shit seems meaningless, bro. All this shit seems pointless. And when you point it out, nobody cares. It's exhausting. It actually is exhausting. When you point out what's going on, nobody gives a fuck. They just call you all type of names and this, that, and the third. They defend what's going on. So what's going on would never stop because the masses is going to defend it. And the few people that try to fight against it, they silence those people. They have mob-like tactics to silence these people. They do little things behind closed doors to make these people look crazy because they know deep down in their heart what that person is saying true. A lot of people distance themselves from me, or they may unfollow me on social media, or they may stop messing with me because of what I talk about, all because of what I'm saying is true. Every time I go on Instagram and I peep that somebody done unfollow me, because earlier today I peeped somebody unfollow me. And side note, I hate when people unfollow me and you don't remove me as a follower, bro. That's the only thing I get mad about, bro. Like, I don't care if you unfollow me. I don't care if you don't like me no more. There's plenty of people I get to a point where I unfollow. That's our liberty. That's our right. But nigga, don't leave me as your follower. Eventually, I'm going to find out. Right? But don't leave me as your damn follower, bro. I'm not your damn fan, bro. But that just shows you the type of people are, bro. They everything is about them. Because I'm the type of nigga, I unfollow someone. I don't know. I can't even cap. All right. I just called myself. I'm being a hypocrite right now. Because I have unfollowed some people and I didn't remove them as a follower. So, all right, moving on. Richawd just capped right there. But, when it happens to me, I get pissed off. I'm going to put it like that. When I do it to other people, it's okay. But when they do it to me, I feel some type of way. Call me a hypocrite. It is what it is. You know, when the shoe is flipped on your end, yeah, it's a shitty feeling, but maybe that's just my karma. Who knows? But back to the point. And my final point that I'm going to leave y'all with, the point of me bringing all this up. Nobody cares about what's going on. Nobody cares about the economy falling. Nobody cares about anything, right? All people care about is themselves. All people care about is how are they going to survive. All people care about is how are they going to keep living the life that they want to live, right? They don't want to hear the truth. People don't want to hear the truth. I had to learn this the hard way, right? You try to tell people the truth, they may want to hurt you. You try to tell people the truth, they may want to get rid of you just for trying to tell them the truth, bro. So I've just gotten to a point where it's like, all right, if nobody cares, why should I? Why should I care when nobody else cares? I'm going to still talk about certain things. I'm going to still bring awareness to certain things, but I'm not going to let it consume me. Here's the final point I want to leave y'all with. In this age of information, it's a lot of information out there. It's a lot of things that are being revealed to the masses. It's a lot of things that 20, 30 years ago, people weren't aware of. And the people that were aware of it were the people that were living it. But now we live in a time where you can be living a totally different lifestyle, but you can be aware of other lifestyles. You can be living in the suburbs, but you're aware of what goes on in the trenches and in the hood. So you can emotionally attach yourself to it. My message is don't emotionally attach yourself to things that you can't control, right? That you can't control. It's a lot of things I learned in the Bible. It's a lot of things I learned from reading books. It's a lot of things I learned from certain YouTubers I watch that give me a certain perspective, that tell me certain truths, certain realities, right? It's good information. It's good knowledge. It's things that can be spread and can be taught. But the main thing that I had to realize is you can't control how people receive the message. Not everybody's going to receive the message how I received the message. Not everybody's going to be humble enough to be like, damn, I've been living a fairy tale my entire life. Everything I thought to be true was fake. Most people aren't going to be able to get to that point. Most people aren't going to be able to be humble enough and be like, damn, all this. They're just going to be like, to hell with that. They're going to get a cognitive dissonance, right? They're going to be put under a strong delusion. It's certain people, when the truth gets presented to them, that it's like they get put under a strong delusion. They can't consume the information. Either they can't consume it or they simply don't want to consume it. Just like I said, just like the mother who has a son who's been found guilty of unaliving somebody and he's about to do life in prison. Even though he's been found guilty, even though all the evidence shows that your son wasn't worth a damn, your son was out here doing heinous crimes, that mother still don't want to accept that little baby that she was rocking asleep done turned into this. People don't want to accept that the world that seems so beautiful, so innocent, is demonic and destructive. People don't want to accept that a lot of the cartoons and a lot of the movies and a lot of the music and the frequencies and everything is evil. Everything, Richawd, isn't that extreme? You're an extremist. You're this, you're that. You're just like that mother that doesn't want to accept that her boy was a M-word durer. Right? I can't say that word on YouTube. He was an unaliver. He unalived people. All the evidence is there. When I tell y'all these things, I present evidence. You can go look it up. You can go fact check the things I tell y'all. When I tell y'all that there's no gold and silver back in the dollar, there hasn't been gold and silver back in the dollar since 1971. And since 1971, the dollar's been inflating and eventually the dollar's going to crash. I still have people that come in my comment section saying, oh, the dollar's not going to crash. You're just exaggerating. You don't know what you're talking about. When you can go look these things up, my brother. But you guys are just like that mother that don't want to accept that her little boy done turned dark. This world that seems so innocent done turned dark. And newsflash, it been dark. Now, the difference between that little boy used to be innocent, right? Because every kid is innocent. That little boy used to be innocent. This world was never innocent. From the time you was born, this world was corrupted. But you were lied to your whole childhood. You were taught that it was better than what it actually is. You were taught that things that are bad are good and things that are good are bad. So now when somebody reveals to you that everything that you've been taught is backwards, everything's been flipped upside down, you don't want to accept it. And that can be depressing because it's like you have all the answers to a test, right? You have all the answers to the final exam. And you give your homeboy the answers to the final exam because you know your homeboy is struggling in the class and he needs to pass this exam to pass the class. You give your homeboy the study guide with all the answers. And somehow, some way, he still fails the test. That's how it feels when you're calling out certain things. People like me are calling out certain things that are going on in this world that isn't right. And I give reasons to why it's not right. And people still call me crazy. People still ignore me, or people still simply just don't care. It's like, damn, bro, what can you do? I gave you all the answers and you still don't get it. And what I've had to learn to accept, and what many of you who are getting in the truth and learning the truth and getting in the know, what you have to accept is you can't make somebody change. You can't force somebody to change. The same way they tell you can't force somebody to believe in God. It has to be in their spirit. It has to be something that they're seeking. You can't force people to accept the truth. They must either be seeking the truth or not. If they're not seeking the truth, there's nothing you can do for them, right? And that's just something I've had to accept. People around me, people on YouTube, people on the internet, people at my job, wherever. If people don't want to seek the truth, then it is what it is. It's the same way with people liking you or people not liking you. You can't force anybody to like you the same way you can't force anybody to accept the truth. I just farted. I had to open the door. Oh, that shit stank. But you can't force anybody to accept the truth. But on that note, excuse me, I'm gonna end this video. But you can't force anybody to accept the truth. And what was the final point I was gonna make before that stank ass fart threw my train of thought off? Your peace of mind is everything, bro. Your peace of mind is everything. Controlling what you can control is everything, bro. Because it'll give you peace, bro. Right? It gives me more peace knowing that I can still come out here and spread awareness because there are people that understand. There is people that resonate with what I'm saying. But there's also people that don't. It's a lot of people, unfortunately, that don't. And maturing is realizing that, you know, you can't change people. Simply put, I was trying to think of something deep, but it's really that simple. You just can't change people, bro. People are going to believe what they want to believe. People are going to do what they want to do. You can tell somebody that smoking cigarettes is bad for you. If they like smoking cigarettes, they're going to smoke that cigarette anyway. They don't give a damn about what you're telling them. It's the same thing with anything else. You can tell people things, you can bring awareness, but at the end of the day, you can't put a gun to their head and say, hey, you need to change your way of thinking. You need to change your way of moving. You need to submit to Christ. You need to repent. You need to this. That's why I can never be one of them people standing on the corners. You guys need to turn from your evil ways. Repent. Turn to God. I ain't doing all that, bro, because to me, that never works. I've never seen one of them people standing on the corner chastising people with the goddamn microphone, loud as hell. I've never seen anybody walk up to them and be like, you know what? You're right. I need to stop living wickedly. I need to stop living demonically. I need to turn to the Lord. You saved me. I've never seen it happen, bro. All I see is when them people are standing on the corner yelling out scriptures, yelling out this, yelling out that. All I see is people just walking right by them. If anything, they may record them. Because that tactic doesn't work, because what those people are trying to do is they're trying to shame people into the truth. You can't shame people into the truth, bro. You can put the information out there. You can present the information, and it's take it or leave it, bro. You know? But on that note, I'm going to get up out of here. Peace.